couple things set up. We're gonna go out and feed the chickens in just about a minute and a half. So let me get a couple things set up. You guys get to, here, we'll let you check out the bees while we're waiting. And I will be right back in just a second.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we should be good to go now. I got my gloves. Got everything else set up, and let's go out there and get the chickens fed and all the other kind of good stuff. So I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. It's been a good day here on the farm so far. It's a little overcast. We're gonna go check out the temperature in just a minute. Lisa's gone. She's off doing some fun adventure with my mom. They're gonna go to By the Pound place. My dad's mowing. Where my brother's at. That's kind of the update of everything there. So Fernando's just chilling out there on the porch, just sleeping, doing his kitty thing. So it's gonna be loud here for a minute because we have to walk past my dad. But current temperature is about 78 degrees or about 24 C. So let me spin this back around. Let's get and we'll be good to go. So here we are in the barnyard. So since Lisa's gone today, it's my job to feed the chickens. So we're gonna collect some water, we're gonna feed everyone, we're gonna do all the normal stuff, and you guys get to check out the baby bunnies and the baby chicks. And we get to say hi to Sylvia and see how the bees are doing, and just work on the chores that we get done today. And then maybe we'll walk out to the market garden and we'll do some stuff out there. So I'm gonna walk into the barn first because I need to check on our water supply to see how much water I've got, so I can try to get a rough idea of how much water I need to go pick up. So it looks like I have roughly about 1 5-gallon jug of water. You guys look right down there. See the 5-gallon jugs of water? That one's just got a little bit of water in it. That one is pretty much full. Because it's been so hot, and it has been hot and humid. Because it's been so hot and humid, it's absolutely vitally important that we make sure that the chickens have, and the ducks, and everybody has plenty of water. So we're gonna start off here in the barn today. So I'll try to talk a little bit louder because I know the fan is probably loud and such. So let's walk over and grab some feed. Oh, I left the feed open earlier today. So let me get my feed bucket. If you're new to watching, pretty much what Let's Feed the Chickens, I used to do it fairly regularly. Right now it's kind of, I've been hit and miss. But if you Let's Feed the Chickens, what we do is you just follow me around on my chores. We talk a little bit about farming. If you have any questions about homesteading, farming, anything that we're doing, feel free to ask those in the chat. That's kind of what the purpose of this for. it's also just to kind of give you guys a feel of what it takes every day to feed things. So some people ask, like, we've got about 45. We have about 45 rabbits, somewhere in the vicinity of 50 ducks. I don't know how many chickens. I used to know that right off the top of my head. I'm gonna say in the 30s of chickens. We've got 1 pig, and pretty much the run of the mill. For those that knew that we had a chakar, the chakar has passed. We don't have the chakar anymore, and I haven't been able yet to acquire quail. Again, so quail are next going to be on our list. So that's probably a big goal for next year. So we also do gardening, farming. I run a nonprofit, which is, you type in !M, you can check that. You can check out our website. So what we do is just teach people off-grid living, farming, gardening, adulting. So pretty much the beginning levels of being sustainable, the beginning levels of taking control of your life back. And so you're not listening and you're not buying into that corporate machine. So that's just kind of we're giving you the first step. So because we all have to take baby steps. And while not all of you can jump into the farm, and not all of you would be ready to do what I do, there is little steps that you can take at the beginning, just a little bit, to get in there and do some awesome stuff. So that's what we're doing. There's also a lot of glamour. That's why I use the cottage core here. There's a lot of awesomeness about being on the farm. There's a lot of awesomeness of living in the woods, living in the mountains, whatever you choose to live with that aspect. So. But there are important things that you need to know too. It's time consuming, it takes some work. Stuff like this on a regular basis. So what's happening there is we have a duck battle royale. So those 2 ducks are trying to decide which duck is the cooler duck. And so they'll battle some out. So that dude won, but he's still nothing. And then the boys up here, the dude up here, that's a girl. These guys up here are just they're part of the peanut gallery. They're just giving their opinions, and everybody know what they think. So, other thing is, you're going to notice barns are a little messy. So as much as you try to keep them as clean as possible, they're going to be a little bit messy. They're not going to be as clean as you see in movies. That being said, they don't need to be filthy. You just kind of have to find that balance between having them clean and healthy for the animals, and also having them so that you're not just breaking your neck and just cleaning where things don't need to be, spotless. So it's an interesting balance. Everybody will learn that. They'll learn their own tolerance, and they'll learn how to deal with it the best way possible. So anyways, one thing I do suggest, scoopers. We just recently added new scoopers. These guys are pretty cool because they're a lot tougher than the other ones. Having good ways to feed your animals nice and easy will save you a lot of time. So I know this sounds silly, but the idea is just to give people even the little tiny tips. So I'll show you what our feed looks like. So some of you like to know what feed is. So this is what our feed looks like. So we mix our own. So I get birdseed, and then I also get laying mesh. Sometimes I get laying pellets. I kind of like to change it up for them, give them a little bit of variety. Sometimes they want something different. But you might say, well, why don't you just feed them the straight laying mesh? And that's this it says boring looking stuff in there. It's because if you add sunflower seeds and you add other stuff, it actually adds natural things that the chicken would naturally eat out there in the wild, and so you don't necessarily need to add some of the other stuff that you will. Because if the chickens don't have things that they can make calcium out of, then you need to start adding oyster shells. Well, sunflower seeds, when they eat sunflower seeds, there's some good things in there that help them produce the calcium. So it's a good thing to add in. Again, you're going to find your own mix depending on the location that you're at and how you choose to raise your chickens. But you will probably, after you raise chickens long enough, you'll probably get to the point where you'll make yourself your own mix. So let's start getting these guys fed, making sure everyone's good to go. And we'll check the waters and see who's going to need to be touched up with waters and such. Let's pop this guy down here. Around. So there's two of our, and you'll see one of the babies will pop up right behind that hen. It's hiding up there in the corner right now. There you go. That's Timmy is his name, or her name. Not sure what she is yet. So you see I've got a camera in here. I'm gonna have to remove that one. That one's not working right. But there's Timmy. That's an older hen too. That hen right there. Some people think that you able for a couple years. That hen is actually 5 years old, and she still makes a really good mom. That's actually her baby. So sometimes even if your older hens aren't laying you as many eggs, they're still really good at raising babies. And so sometimes the trick is to have the hens for baby raising. So we're gonna come over here. We're gonna get the silkies, because that's what's in here. So the reason you see these cages in here is some of our chickens are outside, some of our chickens are inside. We do rotations around. Right now we didn't have as much grass out because we're redoing parts of the barnyard. And so we didn't get to take all the cages out this year, but these guys have been rotating in and out with some of the cages that are out there. The reason we can't let these guys free range like we do some of the other ones, so our bigger chickens we let free range because our bigger chickens, they're able to deal with the predators a lot easier. They're able to find lots of spots to hide. And so as we improve our barnyard and make our barnyard more like a forest instead of like a big open plain, we'll be able to have more of the chickens and such outside. But as of right now, our silkies and our bantams, we keep them inside our enclosures. So just freshen up. Lacey May, how are you today? So let's peek down here. There's some more bebes down here. We decided late in the season to let these guys. So we've got two silky hens in here. So you can see one baby right there, and there's going to be a couple more. That's actually we actually let them also raise a silky a guinea. So there's a guinea. So there's a guinea right there. It's best to raise guineas with chickens and such like that. So, but those are two really good silky moms. So very excited about. It's a good setup. Got all that working. So let's get back to getting all these guys fed and water. I'm going to turn this way so you guys can watch me do this over here. And I got one more down over here. As you guys can see, it's not a whole lot of work. It's just, it's very time consuming. There's just a lot of steps you need to take. This is also the time that you do a lot of inspections. You kind of see how the personalities are. You make sure that everybody is happy, healthy, they've got the food. You kind of look over the chickens and you make sure that nothing's crazy that you've noticed from yesterday or today. Now, one day a week, you also get a really deep dive in. That's where Lisa's really good at that. With the animal husbandry, you really get in there and you inspect them. You make sure everybody's good. You make sure no one is, there's not laying a bunch of extra eggs someplace, that they're hiding someplace. You just, so at least once a week, you definitely need to get into a deep dive. These are things that when we have interns in the future, these are things that the interns will learn. A lot of stuff we'll teach with the interns is we'll be teaching the interns how to properly raise chickens and all the different varieties, how to build these cages, how to build the enclosures, what chickens are good outside, what chickens are good inside. And again, it's also going to depend on your particular location and your environment. So again, if you have any questions, you're always free to ask them, or if you don't want to ask them right now, exclamation point Discord, you can jump on the Discord, and one of the things we talk about on that Discord is farming. Okay, let's move on up. Where can I put you guys? We're going to go over here. Put you guys right here. And we'll tilt this down and tilt this way, because we're next going to be working on this bank of chickens. So we do have a lot more, because we've been getting more and more bunnies. Bunnies are actually starting to take over the cage here in the barn, so we're getting a nice balance between bunnies and chickens. We hope that by winter, this is going to be the main barn that we'll be using for all of our animals, and we'll be able to use the bunny barn to start growing crops, to try to convert it to an in-house greenhouse with LED lights and such like that. That's kind of the plan of action. I just noticed the window is broken over there. I'll show you guys that in just a second. Always something on the farm you got to pay attention to. So Lisa didn't point that out to me yesterday, so it might be new. So let's get these guys fed, so then I can get the guys outside, and then we can switch to the bunny food. Okay, so let me show you this guy. So this guy is one of our more meaner guys, but let me show you. Let me move this guy over here, because I see something that needs to be addressed, and I'm surprised Lisa didn't bring it up to me. So this guy's one of our crazy guys. So some of our Bantams are kind of crazy. So you can see he's kind of crazy, but what I really want to show you is, look at this. See this right here? See that spur? Not bueno. That's getting way too long. So see how long that spur is? So let me show you guys a trick. I think I can do this on screen by myself. So what you want to do is you go right here at the base and you gently wiggle this back and forth. I'm going to grab another. I want to make sure I don't hurt his leg. So you see I'm grabbing right here at the base of his leg, and you can see how absolutely long his spur is. So instead of clipping the spur like a lot of people do, you can actually gently remove the spur. So what you do is you come here right to the base. Okay. You hold the leg so you're not twisting the leg. And then you're just going to take the spur and you're just going to gently twist it back and forth. So you're going to see how I can gently twist it back and forth, and you're going to feel it break, or you're going to feel it pop. Okay, once it pops, you just keep wiggling it. And voila. And you see it's going to be a little bit blood, but you can see how he's got a nice little spur now. And so he doesn't have this bothering him. So I'm going to put him back. But that's how you remove a spur. That's the easiest, simplest way to remove a spur on a chicken. And then the cool thing is, you've got a cool little spur. So, or a cool little horn, if you want to refer to it as a horn, or whatever. I'm going to put it in my pocket. Okay, let's get these other guys fed. That guy's just being loud. Get these guys over here. I got one more chickens to feed in here. We're gonna get those guys up top. Let me get those guys up top fed. Now we are heading outside to get the guys outside, and then we'll go see Drake. He is the duck that's our older duck that's hanging out in the one cage. Ooh, bright. So these are some of the outside cages that we currently have. These guys are ready to go. So let me put this. We'll put this down right here so you guys can see what I'm doing. We'll get these guys. Well, you can't really see what I'm doing right there, so we'll get a little closer. There you guys go. And we'll get these guys fed. So this, as we're out here, this gives them a lot of place to free range and such like that. So, yeah, the plantains are absolutely crazy growing here right now. Part of it is because when I did stuff to the soil, it changed the way the soil was, and the plantains came in here and started the process of rebuilding the soil in the yard for me. So it's really good. You guys can see the ducks right next to me, helping themselves to my bucket. It's almost like, you know, you get to, you come out here and such like, well, I actually don't usually make plantain tinctures, just because I usually have such an abundance. I usually have such an abundance here that I don't normally make the tinctures, but it is a good idea. It is something I should think about doing in the future. I'm on the process of doing the elderberry tinctures. I've got a lot of the elderberries picked, which I do need to go out and check the elderberries later today and see if the rest of them are maturing. And I do have the elderberry tinctures that I've been making with that. And then I'm going to try to make some autumn olive tinctures as well, because the autumn olive is absolutely crazy this year. It did really, really well. So that's another good tincture to add to my mix. So probably in September I'll be teaching, so I'll do some more classes. I'll do some more classes online. We'll do some class here on DLive and such like that, and then I'll save them, and we'll do some more classes about making tinctures and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you guys can see the ducks are, you know, they're just you know, all up in my business, just helping me, because that's what the ducks like to do. So yeah, dehydration's a good. You could turn them into jellies. That's a decent idea. I'm not sure what you like to do. You could turn them into a wine or a vinegar by fermenting them. That's another good option with grapes. You can just freeze grapes. I have done it. I used to love one of my favorite snacks was just eating frozen grapes. So they do freeze well. So that's something that you can definitely consider. Grapes are definitely one of those things that freezes well. But you know, there's a lot of stuff. Again, I like to make the different types of tinctures and alcohols and vinegar and such like that. So I might do that with some of the grapes. But freezing them is definitely a very viable option. In the future, we're going to get a freeze dryer, so we can start freeze drying food as well. I have a handful of friends now that have them, and they've been telling me all about the wonderful benefits of freeze drying, and it sounds pretty awesome. So it sounds like something, when I have a little bit more time, I'm definitely going to need to add to my mix of stuff that we do. So that'll be something very, very excited about. Let's continue on. I don't know if you guys can hear the music jamming in the background. But I try to have music or Alan Watts always playing for the guys. So it keeps most of the predators in check. So Kevin and Ariel are skunks. So since they were born here, they're kind of acclimated to that. So freeze dryers are expensive. Yes, they are. Depending on the quality that you get, they're in the thousands. But I've had friends now just tell me how absolutely cool it really, really is. So, because what it does is you can, I don't know, it's just really cool. The stuff that they've made and the stuff that they've processed just seems pretty amazing. So, but like I said, they're in the thousands, and I'm not quite. We're working on different steps, and so keep real strong tight of our budget and pay attention to how we're spending our money. Okay, see, Alan Watts is playing in here. So this is the bunny barn. So the idea behind the bunny barn is hopefully very soon. Right now we've been using this more for a lot of our storage as we've been able to take the bunnies out of here. So that's our goal, is ultimately to get most of the animals out of here, use this to start growing some year-round plants, and hook up some LED lights in here, and then use this for storage and plant growth. At least until we then would need to repurpose it for animals or something else in the future. The best thing you can get from our cemetery is to get up to the neighborhood. You can't get anywhere else. You may get down to the north of the cemetery. It's so nice. So you find to see that the real okay, so it diminishes the value of the food a little bit. Anytime you don't eat food fresh, so cooking, with the exception of carrots, cooking, freezing, dehydrating, freeze drying, salting, preserving, pickling, all that kind of stuff actually does diminish the value of the food a little bit. But the fact is it also then gives it so that you have access to those fruits and vegetables, those minerals, those vitamins that you wouldn't other times of the year. So it kind of balances out, because you couldn't eat Like it's really hard to eat tomatoes in the dead of winter, but having tomatoes is really good for you. And so being able to have access to those, even if you freeze dry them or you can them or things of that sort, makes up the difference. But if you got the opportunity, fresh is usually the way to go. With a few exceptions, there's a few things that are worth cooking. But in general, that's kind of the best way to look at it.
So in this way, by this dialogue, the guru, the teacher, brings a person back to center. So then this is the part.
So here's one of the young bunnies. So you guys can see a nice little young baby bunny. He's a little crazy still, but just a little young bunny. We weren't purposely meant to. We weren't trying to have more baby bunnies, but this mom, Gracie is her name. She's really good at having baby bunnies. So
Bodhisattva means somebody who went out of society, maybe so gave up the world, the road, found what he was looking for, but his finding it was absolutely simultaneous with his coming back into society. So the Bodhisattva,
and just a couple more guys to feed in here.
So the important thing to remember is Buddhism is a dialogue.
Okay, now we're gonna head on out and get everybody outside fed.
The teaching of Buddhism is summed up in what I call the Four Noble Truths. The truth of suffering.
Like I said, the big goal in here is to reduce the number of bunnies in there, so we can not only repurpose and make the main barn, the Kuppenheimer, where we keep most of our animals, but also to make it so that we can repurpose that to start growing crops year round. Since I was unable to pick up a greenhouse this year, I looked at trying to get a couple, but the price was just outside of what was in our budget. Plus we got a tractor, and we definitely needed a tractor because we're going to be doing our own hay in the next year or so, instead of having to split it with the neighbor. And I mean, don't get me wrong, which is a great deal, but us being able to do the hay ourselves means that we have more control over when we harvest the hay, and with all the different things we do, teaching classes, Lisa's projects, and with the trying to get all the different types of stuff here, all the different types of future projects and such, and getting the interns and such here on the farm, being able to have more control over when we can harvest our own hay and when we can do our own stuff definitely is will definitely be helpful. So you guys can't really see, that's kind of boring. So let me spin you guys down around here so you guys can see the bunnies. And so it's not quite as boring watching what I was doing. So you might be wondering, the bunnies in our cages are either bunnies that are young, bunnies that are raising young, or bunnies that have chosen that they want to live in cages. There is one or two bunnies that are handicapped, and that's why they live in the cages. But in general, we kind of let the bunnies choose what they want to do. Some of them decide they want a free range, and so the bunnies that choose they want a free range, they get the free range. Some of the bunnies, they decide that they actually would rather live in cages and things of that sort, so they get to live in the enclosures and such like that. But we give them the choice. Like I said, with very few exceptions, they get the choice of where they want to live. You might be wondering why we raise the bunnies. So we raise the bunnies primarily for their poop, because it's a spectacular fertilizer and it is a really good way. I really need to do a lot of augmenting the soil here. So the downfall to here in Appalachia is we don't have the best soil. And so there's a lot of times that I need to really be rebuilding the soil. And with how expensive it is to buy the petrochemicals to redo the soil and things of that sort, raising rabbits and even with feeding them and that kind of stuff is definitely more cost effective than augmenting the soil in other ways. It also means that we get the cool experience of raising the rabbits, the companionship, but it also means that they're also a crop that we can sell to other folks if so needed. So if other people decide that they want to raise rabbits, we've sold rabbits in the past. We raise rabbits for lots of stuff. These guys that we're looking at, most of these guys right here are mixed use. So we try to keep them with a really good personality, but they also have a good meat to bone ratio. So if someone wants to raise rabbits for consumption, these rabbits would fit that bill, and they'll keep breeding to the point where they'll fit that bill. Now we do also raise just companion rabbits. We'll go see some of those in the Kuppenheimer barn. Those are our floppy-eared rabbits and our lionhead rabbits. So. And you might not have seen this, but this is our pear tree. Well, let me walk back. You guys can see. This is one of our pear trees, and it is completely covered up with lots of beautiful pears. So the pears did really well this year. One of the perks of having bees is your bees do a really wonderful job of making sure a lot of the flowers and such get processed. Let me show you this. I'll show you, so just to show you that you don't need a lot of room to still grow lots of awesome plants. So right in here, this is just a small area that I roped off to keep the chickens and such in, but you guys can see the tomatoes that are growing in here. And actually what's great is this will be a plant that I pull a lot of clones from, like right here. If you guys can see this split right here, you can see how this one's coming up from the corner. Let me see if I can get that to clear up a little bit. Okay, yeah. So you can see this is coming up kind of in the middle. I'll snip this right here, and this will make a really nice clone, a really nice future plant to bring inside, and try to get some tomatoes from year round. Here's probably another better angle that you can see it. So some people will call them suckers. But if you cut like right here, so what I call the split, so where you see the split right here, you cut right here. And all you got to do to clone this is you just stick that right into some rainwater. And you stick that into rainwater, and you are, it doesn't take long before it starts making a future plant. So yeah, I actually don't, I only cut my suckers for when I'm ready to clone. Otherwise, like if you guys can see, the plant is just kind of a crazy mess. I let my plants go crazy. I let them kind of be tomato plants and do their own thing. If you guys have never seen Jimson weed, that's what this is. This is Jimson weed as well. So this is a very, very good municipal. So it's good for a variety. It's good for a variety of things. The leaves are really good for asthma, and the those little seed pods right there, those spiky seed pods, are psychedelics. So, but yeah, you guys can see how, you know, it's just kind of, there's a couple tomatoes. There's a couple tomatoes right there doing well. A couple other big ones right there. So, Jimson weed, a lot of times it's pulled, but the leaves are really good for asthma or for any type of bronchial thing, and can definitely be used. If you use an inhaler, the extract from that inhaler is actually a derivative of the compound that's in the leaves. And so for an emergency situation, you can actually take the leaves, you can grind them up, and you can put them in a pipe or a vaporizer, and you could smoke those, and it would help with an asthma attack, or it'd help with loosening up a tight lungs and things of that sort. And then, like I said, the seed pods here, those are those spiky pods. Those are psychedelic, and so you can use those for spiritual. Again, you know, not saying that you should do anything like that for recreational use, but if you're trying to do, no, it is absolutely not considered a mint. So it is in its own family. Jimson weed is in its own family. If you want to read a really interesting historical tale of Jimson weed, if you go and you read the story about the Bacon Rebellion in Roanoke and in Jamestown and things of that sort, you can read about Jimson weed. Jimson weed is what was used to make that the natives actually gave to the colonists and such at the time, to get them to act funny and to do things so they could actually they could win the particular battles. So it actually can be used for nefarious purposes as well. It is datum, D-A-D-A-T-U-R-E, I believe is the ending of that. So you can look that up. It's an American plant. So it has a very beautiful blue, purple, white bloom. So Devil's Trumpet, you'll also see it's related to Devil's Trumpet. It is considered a toxic. Yes, it is considered toxic because there is medicinal purposes. There is medicinal reasons to be using it, but you have to know what you're doing. Again, like I said, the leaves are the only thing that are extremely useful from that plant that has purely a medicinal, making you better use of it. And I'm not suggesting that you get in there and anybody gets in there and uses it for any reason, unless you've done your own research, because it's always best to just get in there and make sure first off, you want to make sure you're positively identifying the right plant. So unless you're getting it from an herbalist or you're getting it from someone who knows the source, you getting out there and adventuring and trying to do all this kind of stuff yourself, it's best for you to get in there and do the research, make sure you know how it's going to react with you, and make sure you're positively identifying any plant. So as much as I love doing herbalist stuff, and much as I can get out there and I know what I can eat out there, and I know what I can process, and I know what I can do, that's because I've spent years of research. I also have my field guides with me. I've got some awesome apps on my phone that also help me identify that kind of stuff. So it is one thing that you do need to pay attention to if you're going to go out there and you're going to wildcraft and you're going to start making your own medicine, or you're going to start experimenting with some really cool plants out there. You just need to make sure you know with what you're doing, and you also should always do it in the company of someone who's also sober, or as we refer to it as either having yourself a shaman around, or guru, or just a mom. So someone that can take you to the hospital if you've taken the wrong plant and you've done something stupid. Someone that is there to make sure that you've done the right thing. And again, or just someone that can give you the proper medicine, so that if you have consumed the wrong plant or you happen to have an allergic reaction to that plant, someone that's there to help. Now, once you understand how that plant works with your body, and once you understand it works well with you, then you can start making proper choices for yourself on how to do the right thing. A natural antibiotic. So that's pretty simple. We have things like oregano oil, olive leaf oil, colloidal silver does well. Dandelions, so eating dandelions, consuming dandelions is also a really good thing. Those are like the really easiest to come by. Honey is antibiotic as well. So those are things. There's in each individual person's region, there's going to be different things that you're going to find that actually that do really well. So Like a great example is I take a pure silver coin in all of my water bottles. I have a silver coin sitting in the bottom of all of my water bottles. Why? Because there's antibacterial, antibiotic, antimicrobial activities to silver that help. That's why colloidal silver can be good. Dandelion leaves. So I give dandelion leaves to all of my chickens, or my pig, or my ducks if I start noticing that they're starting to get runny poop, or I start thinking that they've got something like that. So that does a wonderful job. I also consume fresh dandelion leaves myself if I'm just not feeling well or I need to improve my gut health or such like that. And I mentioned something. Oh, oregano oil. So right now, since I've been dealing with being diagnosed with Lyme, I've been about 3 weeks since I just got off my antibiotics today, but I was also taking natural antibiotics on top of that. So I've been taking oregano oil. I've been taking olive leaf oil are two things that really do a wonderful job. Again, they're not going to be anywhere near as potent as getting yourself an antibiotic. So that is the one perk. That is the one thing that somebody had asked me. Me and Mock were talking about this the other day. Somebody asked me if there's something I could bring back in time with me. It totally would be antibiotics, because we absolutely need that. That's one thing that antibiotics is some amazing stuff, especially since antibiotics are actually a natural occurring thing. So I got diagnosed with Lyme. So I got bit by ticks. I had spots on my body. My joint started hurting. So I had all the signs of getting Lyme's disease. And so it was either a Lyme's flare-up, or it was just something that was something was not right. Maybe I was getting Lyme from that one. So having a doxy and taking antibiotics to deal with Lyme. Now, what was crazy though, it had been almost 20 years since last time I took an antibiotic. So yeah, I don't know exactly how to spell it. It's D-O-X-Y and some other letters. Most people just refer to it as doxy. So it's just a broad It was just a broad spectrum. It's easy. It was easy to find, easy to use. I don't go to doctors, if most of you don't know that. So I had to figure out ways to treat myself. So there you go. Mock added the proper way of spelling it. So honestly, the main reason I'd go to a doctor is if I was really, really bad off, or if I needed something fixed. Most of the time I treat myself. A couple more bunnies over here to make sure that they got fed, and then we know get some water. So yeah, there's a lot of natural stuff that really helps. That really helps with it. I have a really good book. It's in the house. I'd show it to you guys, but it's in the house. I've been reading it, and it seems to have some really good things. And that's going to be good for the treatment in the future. So it's just knowing that this happened, and knowing that, Lyme's one of those things that's hard to get rid of, that you almost never get rid of it. It's just knowing the tricks and being able to start adding and changing my diet and adding the herbs and such to it. I got about 3 more bunnies over here that we got to get to. And then we will head off and go see the bees. And then we will go look at the market garden and such like that. You want to see the bunnies? He's a little shy. Give me a second. Let me get these guys fed, and then I'll poop them out. So I got bit by the tick when I was in Ohio. Ironically, I was visiting my little sister and we went hiking. And so I got these spots on my body. They were covered about this much of the body, and they were dark, and they had, I won't necessarily say like exactly like a bullseye, but they had like a border, and then it was a little darker around the border, and then the skin inside of the circle or the weird shapes was kind of miscolored. And I had about 15 of them all throughout all on my torso and on my back, and just starting on my buttocks. Not really any on my legs or my arms, but mostly just on my torso, and then just a few on my butt. So here is Bear, if you guys wanted to see. I'll just spin the camera around this way, it'll be easier. He jumped into the crack of the hay. Hold on. Come on, get up. Get up out of the crack of the hay. Out of the crack of the hay. Okay. So there's a lion. This is our little lion-haired guy. So. So he's one of our education bunnies. He's one of them that gets to go out. He's the one that gets to go out and adventure around with other people because he's very people friendly. So. Okay, so let me get him back in. Let's get the other guys. I'll put you here so the fan's not blowing. Very loud, very loud. Yeah, he's just a cool dude, just chilling. Oh man, thanks for the gifting of the 5 subs. Very, very much appreciate it. Okay, got 2 more guys to feed. We have this all kind of crazy up, so. Okay. We got all that good to go. I'm gonna take this stuff back. We're gonna need to get some water in just a bit, but before I give these guys water, because some of these guys still had a little bit of water, so it's just something I need to remember to not forget to come back. But we're gonna go check out the bees, since I promised we go check out the bees. But since I'm putting this in this way, I'll grab another baby bunny, since some of you probably didn't get a chance to see the baby bunnies. I should go grab a baby chick. If you guys want to see the baby chick too, just let me know, and as I get the baby bunny, I'll go grab a baby chick as well. So. Well, this is even more exciting than the baby bunny I found earlier. I found another super little baby bunny. So, this guy is probably a day or so old. So, little gray guy, super little baby bunny. Is what happens here on the farm, is always finding baby bunnies. Not exactly sure how she got knocked up, but she must have got knocked up before she brought in these babies. Before I brought her in with her other babies. This Gracie, it's our resident mom down here. She always seems to have babies. That bunny, I think, is constantly knocked up because we're always finding baby bunnies. So I'm gonna go in here and count to see how many we've got. So the count is 5. So five. There's 5 baby bunnies in there. We ended up losing 1, so I'm going to take this out here. So not bad. So five baby bunnies in there. Good to go. So that means she'll have to stay in there a little bit longer. So let's go out and check out the bees now. Like I said, wasn't expecting. Always something new, always something exciting here on the farm. Was totally not expecting to find. We forgot to feed Sylvia. She's gonna be mad if I don't feed her. She needs corn. I think I've got to go get corn in this barn down here. So the feed place has been out of her feed for the last couple days. So if you guys have not met Sylvia, we're gonna walk down and I'm gonna make sure I get some good feed for Sylvia, and we'll go say hi to Sylvia and feed Sylvia. Sylvia is our 600-pound pig. She's kind of our guard animal here on the farm. Her job is to make sure that the coyotes and bears and all that other kind of stuff. So I'm sorry to hear about that. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear about that, Lacey. That sounds horrible. One of the reasons I love living in Appalachia is we don't really have there's really not much besides like ice storms that I really have to deal with. So I thought about it. Me and Lisa's talked about redoing different stuff on our Etsy store. So we do have an Etsy store. If you want to, if anybody's ever interested, you can do !Etsy. We're gonna be adding more interesting things to that in the future. Right now, we mostly just right now I think most on there is bags. We convert all of our old feed bags into carrying cases, into little statules that you can carry with you. And I think Lisa has some blue jean blankets some blue jean pillows for cats and such. So But yeah, feathers. I'm gonna try to. A couple years ago I made corn cob pipes, and I might want to try to make some more of them again this year. So, but yeah, feathers. Great idea. Great idea. Totally high on the list of stuff we need to add into our mix. So anyway, we can create more revenue to do more cool things here on the farm, and more things that I'll be able to, more ways that I'll be able to do stuff with interns and more outreach programs and such. So let's peek down to say hi to Miss. So here's Miss Sylvia. She is our 600-pound pig. She is... How old is Miss Sylvia? Sylvia is, I think, 9 years old or so. So, awesome piggy. Does a great job. She tills up some land. She eats a lot of our scraps. She's just an all-around good pig. So, now she's past the point of bacon now. It would be it would be old bacon. Okay. Let me put this down over here, and then we're gonna head out. We're gonna head out to the barn. We're gonna head out to the market garden area. We have some poppies that grow here. They do okay. Oh, by the way, guys, when we were talking about the nonprofit and such, if any of you do use Amazon and you are interested in helping me out with that as well, if you type in smile.amazon.com, it'll bring up the idea that that part of your purchase will go towards a nonprofit. My nonprofit is Mavis Institute. If you look down in the description below, you'll see a link to that, and that would be super helpful. Again, doesn't cost you anything, and if you're going to use Amazon anyways, at least we might as well take in some money away from them. So here we are. Beautiful day, as you can see. It's one of my favorite types of days where you got the big clouds, the big giant fluffy clouds in the sky. It's a nice day. You can hear it's in the 80s because the crickets are going. I don't know if you guys know this. At least this is true here on the East Coast. But crickets start cricketing above the temperature of, I think it's 76 or 78. And then they'll cricket up to, I believe it's 89. And so crickets are very natural ways to tell the temperature outside and such like that. So as you guys can see, we processed most of the hay in the hayfield. That's the hay that's left over from the farmer that did the hay and such with us. We'll address what that is, that bit of hay right there, in just a few minutes. We're gonna walk down here to the market garden. I can show you all the cool stuff that's been going on and how nice everything is turning out to be. So there's these two things, the monster and the other stuff. This is where we catch our water. And right now, since I don't have water out here, this is just the easiest way to have water. I grow water hyacinths in here. So if you guys can see, so you can see that kind of stuff in there. You know, I'm pretty sure that's what it is, or rubbing their wings, their legs and their wings, something of that sort. So, and then this is interesting because this is another experiment. So I actually have this lid on this because this water stays a lot warmer, and I've also been growing, this is Java moss. So I've been growing Java moss and such in here as well. So, but anyways, those keep the mosquito population closer at bay and also aerate the water so the water doesn't go stale. So that's the perk of having them. And then I have tops on it so animals don't fall in and drown. So here is the Three Sisters. So the corn is very, very short corn. I planted it really late in the year, but I mostly planted the corn so that the peas would have a nice place to grow and hang on to. So as you guys can see, there's corn in here, there's peas in here, and there's also squash. You guys can see the squash is growing here as well. So the idea is that gives you three distinctly different things that can live on just a small area. They all work very well together. They all complement each other. The legumes, which are the beans, they're nitrogen fixers. The corn takes nitrogen out of the soil, and then the squash and such attracts pollinators, and it also keeps the weed population at a particular down a little bit, and then the peas grow up onto the corn, and it's just a very, very good combination together. So you guys can see this is wild corn that just kind of grew up on its own. So you can see how it's doing a lot. It's doing actually a little bit better because it planted itself earlier in the year. And then right here is our watermelon. So this will be the second year here that we've grown watermelon. So very excited to have the watermelon growing. And then let me get this plant right here. But right here is these are my peppers. These are ghost peppers. So be very excited to have more ghost peppers. I love ghost peppers, one of my favorites. So the squirrels are eating the flowers on your squash plant. Well, that means that you should probably be feeding your squirrels. Just get some bird seed and set up a bird seed feeder, and it'll kind of slow them down. So this is interesting. The baby deer have been browsing this tomato plant, which is fine because they've been browsing the tomato plant and not messing with the other things that I have. And then if you guys can see here, I have to zoom in because I didn't weed this at all. But you guys can see that the onions, these are just leftover onions that I had that I just started into the ground, and they're doing very well. So I don't know the name of this plant, but I do want to show you this plant right here. I forget the name of it, so that's why I don't want to say it. I don't want to mistell you the plant. But this plant right here, there's what the leaves and such look like. It's in the lettuce. It's kind of in the lettuce family and such like that. Anyways, this plant is very, very good for pain. So it's got a sap to it, and it has a natural. It's a natural opiate, and so it's a really, really good way to deal with if you want to be naturally dealing with pain and such like that. Again, it's not super intense. You're not going to be able to get a buzz off of it or anything, but it will calm. It will definitely calm things down if you just got some unbearable pain and you just need to calm down just a little bit. So we're going to walk over here. And this is one of the hives. This is an outside hive. This is Stormy Daniels. These are the bees that my neighbor gave me that he was going to get rid of because they were very aggressive bees. So these are the... it's in the wild lettuce family, yes. So these guys live out here. They've done very good. I've calmed them down a lot. So they're still a little hot, but nowhere near as hot as they were. So very, very happy about that. So right here, a bunch of the hay that got rained on and damaged. We'll be turning this into a raised bed very soon. How do you calm bees down? Well, you calm them down by taking away the stress that's causing the stress. You make sure that they're very well fed, and you put them in an area. You put them in an area that they're going to have easy access to the food and water that they need. And then you, the other thing to do is you get them used to you, is you get something that is nice and sweaty or very much smelling like you, and then you stick it in or near the hive. And it does a wonderful job of, that will do a good job of it getting used to the human smell, getting used to your smell, and that will definitely help with that kind of stuff. So, by the way, do not smoke tobacco or ever put tobacco inside of your smoker, because tobacco has an insecticide. It's actually a natural insecticide and actually will kill bees in the smoke and such like that. So you definitely don't want to have tobacco, things of that sort. So another thing is, if you have a super aggressive bees on the outside, what you can do is right out in front of the hole, like right in front of the hole, put something that's going to move. So something like that, or a little spin wheel or something, and then it gets used to, then they don't get so jumpy. They don't get so jumpy when they see movement. So especially if you think that you've got a chance of having Africanized, which are the killer bees, some type of their genes inside your bees, which is very popular for people further south than I am, then having the bees get used to regular motion, having the bees get used to your smell, having the bees, that kind of stuff, doing all of those tricks are great ways to deal with that. So what you're seeing here is, this is going to be a future garden plot. So I put down a bunch of the old hay, stacked it up there, and we'll be building this up in the fall. The best thing is this will kill all the grass. This is a natural mulch. A lot of this will just feed back into the soil. So I'm enhancing the soil and preparing the soil for next year, so we can do some fun gardening in this big spot. So still not sure what we're going to put here, but this is kind of will stop me from having to till this. So, and I will actually be breaking down, right now these barriers are just to make everything easier, but I will be breaking down that hay barrier in the future and pulling it down. Why? Okay, it'll be about 10 minutes, Jake. So we're gonna walk down here, we're gonna cut through the corner, we're gonna go say hi to the Pine Cove bees. And then we're gonna walk up there, and then we'll end with visiting the porch bees and such like that. But yeah, just a beautiful, beautiful day here on the farm. Part of the reason I love living in Appalachia. We have a lot of beautiful days. It's hot today, but still a beautiful day. You can see the ducks and the guineas over here hanging out in the shade, but also kind of a nice separation from the rest of the guys. So every one of these pine trees that you see growing right here, I've planted. So I would say, out of all the trees on my property, somebody had asked me this the other day, out of all the trees on my property, I have about 33 acres. So out of all the trees on my property, I've probably planted, at this particular point, 1/8 of all the trees. So there's a lot of trees that's been here a lot longer than me. So trees that are 200-300 years old. But I've also planted a lot of trees and try to plant more and more trees. So this year I planted about, I think we planted about 40 trees. So well under my initial goal of trying to get 2,000 in. But it's still late in the year, so still might be able to. So here are 3 bee colonies right here. So those are carny bees. Those are these are a really nice hybrid of bees that don't normally have to deal with Varilla mites very much. And then that is an early carny split. So those 2 hives are related, but I did a walkaway split with those, and so those 2 hives are related. This is a rockin' hive, man. That hive, I've done 2 splits off of. That hive is just, it's just crazy. I actually think I missed a swarm from that hive as well. I think that hive swarmed earlier this year. They were acting really funny. So I have them in this little cove right here. The idea is, this is an experiment. As you guys can see, it's leaning a little bit. This was an experiment here to see if I could protect the bees from the cell towers and electromagnetic and such like that. So that's kind of the idea of why I put them here. So there's different types of. There is an Italian honeybee that is it's Varilla mite resistant, And then some people have said that the for you on the West Coast, it seems like a Saskatoon, I think is what it's called. They're bred there in west of the Mississippi, and they seem to do well. They seem to do well with virulite resistance, but it's bees that live more in the colder regions seem to do well. So we can talk more if you have some other questions. You can send me an email or give me a call or hit me up on there, and we can talk more in the spring if you're talking about when to get bees. You are absolutely right, Lacey. I have said that to you. So here's my little pond. Here is my little pond that I've been trying to foster to make sure that the tadpoles do very well in here. So so this is doing very well in here with the tadpoles, and I've also put some of these. These haven't seemed to do as well as they've done in some of the other ponds, and I'm not sure why, but maybe because this water doesn't really get changed out very often, and it just kind of this water's been sitting in this tub for the last couple years, and it just pretty much gets filled up when it rains. That was going to be a bath for Sylvia, but it filled up with water before I got the chance to move it, and it's very heavy. So yes, I always want to make sure frogs are a really good way to see how well your ecosystem's doing. And if frogs can do well, then that means that your water's not polluted. It means it's going to attract other types of bugs. It's going to do lots of really good things. So being able to have frogs in your area, it's also going to be ways to make sure that the ducks and such always have extra food. But I also really like frogs. I've always loved frogs and toads since I was a kid. And so if I can make more frogs and toad habitat. So I am a member of the frog group. What that is that people that count and make habitat and such for frogs, amphibians, and things of that sort. So anytime I can make extra places for frogs and such to live, the happier I am. Let's guys. This is another walkaway split. These guys are really hot. But let me show you this guy. So you might think this is crazy, but part of the reason I leave this is this also protects them from the skunks and such. But see, we've got a build up there. So these guys are either hot or they're thinking about swarming. I'm gonna say that they're just hot because of the way they're acting right there. So that's just a walkaway split. That was kind of an accidental walkaway split. That's why it's kind of hanging out here in the weeds. So, I used to raise poison dart frogs. I love poison dart frogs. So, poison dart frogs are just fun. Like if anybody's asking why someone would raise poison dart frogs, they're just fun. Most of the time when you raise poison dart frogs in captivity, they're not poisonous because they need to eat fire ants. Fire ants is usually the reason why. Most of them are poisonous. And there's other types of insects out there in the wild that they'll eat, but fire ants is usually the main thing that they eat. So we're gonna walk up here to the porch so you guys can see the porch bees. And then you guys can also check out, for those that maybe have not seen my house, because I'm very proud of my house. So, built in 1897. It's a Queen Anne Victorian. I love old properties. My dream job in another life would have been preserving and saving old properties. If I ever become extremely rich and extremely wealthy, I would just go around and save old houses and redo old structures. So just one of the things that one of my passions is the old historic properties, especially stuff like my house was built 123 years ago. So there's my bees. We're gonna walk up there in just a minute, but I just want to show you guys. So there's our door to our bedroom, and then there is our bees. So that's actually how close I keep bees to me. Oh, so what I'll be doing here, if you guys see this crazy mess, but I'm actually probably going to convert this nook into a way to start creating and growing more food and such. So there's my aquaponics, or my aeroponics system that is not working out as well as I want it to do. But and then I just recently got a scythe. That thing's fun. If you don't like weed whacking, and once you learn how to use that properly, if you get a European one, they're definitely really cool. So, Mark Boggs, welcome. Oh, and these are some of the plants that get to move outside. By the way, that's a bear, for those that might be wondering. And then, so here are some of the bees. So we can get up here nice and close. These guys are very used to people. That's what I like about having the porch bees. So see, I can stick my hand right here. No one really cares. They look at it. They want to know what's going on, but no one's going to bother me. And then I've got the other hive up here. So this hive I've been feeding a little bit of sugar water. This hive needs some help. So that hive's just not doing very well. The queen didn't take, and so hopefully they're going to make a new queen, and hopefully all that's going to turn out well. These guys I'm a little concerned of as well. They're not doing what they're supposed to do. Those guys are the Russians. So I might, what I might end up doing with these guys is if they don't seem to be very well, I'm going to condense them down to a smaller enclosure and hyper feed them, because the Russians are one of my favorite type of bees to have. But this one it's always started off weak. I kind of screwed up earlier in the year and almost lost this hive because of a silly mistake. I forgot to let the queen out of her house. So let me see if I've got a queen house sitting around here. I usually do have those just sitting around because, I just have weird stuff just randomly sitting around. I do not. But anyways, there's a little queen house, and I forgot to let her out until like 2 weeks later. And luckily they were feeding her, but that meant that she was 2 weeks behind on doing what she's supposed to do. There's Fernando. Right, Fernando? Just hanging out. Mark, thanks so much. Let's go down and, here you guys can see the honeybees. One of the things I like about peaches is the honeybees will get in there. And let me see if I can slowly turn this around so you guys can see without scaring them away. So, they get in there and they're just pulling the sugars out, just the same way we would like to eat the peach. So they're getting in there and just pulling the sugars out and eating away. And peaches don't come from a can. They come from a tree across the street. I'll still eat both of those peaches. I'll just cut out there's a bad spot here. I'll just cut out this bad spot and I'll still eat that rest of that one. And then that one, it looks like there's still a lot of good peach on that one. And those peaches are spectacular. And what I do is I put the peaches up here. And I put these guys up here, and they do a wonderful job of cleaning it off. Oh, by the way, guys, I just wanted to show you this. If you guys have not seen, if you guys see the spots on my hand, that's what happens when an angry duck, when you try to steal eggs from an angry duck, and they do that like twisting. I don't remember what we used to call them when we were kids. We had a silly name for them, like monkey bites or something like that. So, but yeah, that's what happens when ducks bite and twist. It doesn't actually hurt, it just looks annoying. It hurts when they initially bite you. It does hurt, but. So let me show you, we might as well walk over and I'll show you guys what we're gonna do with these bees. So these are my experiment bees. These are the bees that are being protected from the house, from all of the major cell phone towers. This is one of the quietest places in my yard when it comes to electromagnetic and such like that. So that's why these guys are here. So I have one big hive here. This is a crazy hive, man. This hive is just that particular hive just rocks it. And then we've got another carny hive right here on this half. And then if you want to see how this one works, and then on this half, and so right here where you see the nails down the middle, so this is a queen castle. So there's one hive coming out this way, and there's another hive going out there. So, or kind of another way, it's two nukes put together. So what I'll be doing with those is I'm going to be moving them, and I'm going to be sitting them as winter comes. I'm going to be sitting them right next to the house, and I want them to be kind of touching the natural block there. So that'll help with the mass. That'll help with the heat mass. So I'm hoping, because the sun rises right there and goes right overhead. So in the winter, when the sun sits lower, the sun kind of buzzes like right in that path, and so they'll get a lot of sun. So I'm hoping that that'll help. It's just another experiment, because we're always trying different experiments here. And then the other one we'll be wrapping in the lead to try to see how well that does. We got some fruit trees out front too. This was when I was trying some weird experiment when I thought it'd be a good idea to have fruit trees right by my driveway, which is a bad idea. Don't put fruit trees next to your driveway. Oh, some of you haven't seen my tractor. Let's go say hi to my tractor before we head in. So it's funny, I've been living on a farm. It took 16 years of living on a farm before I ended up getting our own tractor. So Massey Ferguson 165. So needs some work, but it runs fairly well. For those that like motors and that kind of stuff, there is there's the motor. It's a fun, minus the brakes don't always work. It's still a good time. By the way, guys, if you're new to homesteading and you decide to get a tractor, one of the key things you need to remember to do, and I'll explain it to you in a minute, is you want to make sure that you cover up the exhaust pipe. So we have a tin can up there, because you don't want water to get in there and then go down into the engine and screw things up. So luckily, I've been Appalachian enough and I lived out in the country long enough. So yeah, it's got a nice wheel stance. So, and then there's one of our tools that we acquired with it. We also got a baler and some other stuff. So, Mock, you were asking. So here's where you tie the two brakes together. Here's one of the brake adjustment bars that you can screw in and out. This runs through to the other side. There's the brake spring that pulls down into the brake. And then in there, inside the wheel well, is where they keep the brakes. So you have to take the entire tire off, and then you have to disconnect it from there, right there, to redo the brakes. So brake jobs on older tractors are a lot of work. So oh, by the way, guys, so I'm going to be putting a new camera right there, and it's going to be able to be moved, and I'm trying to figure out a way that I'll be able to put in commands to make the camera move. So I'm hoping that's the new camera I just picked up to be able to add. So yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, it's going down hills, which you know, we got hills all over the place. You know, short of going down, you know, I mean, there's my backyard. You know, that's in West Virginia, that's considered flat. Let me see if I can actually get right on ground level to just show you. Okay, yeah, that's pretty much ground level, so you guys can see how it slopes down. We would consider this flat. That would be considered a flat yard. So, though the brakes do work if you put it in the clutch. So they just don't work as well as I'd like them to, but they do work when you push in the clutch. So, you know, whatever. We got it working. Rednecking it, making it work. Lacey, it was wonderful seeing you. I hope you have a wonderful day. When in doubt, turn it off. That's true. It does have a nice pull. It does have a nice quick pull thing that turns it off fairly quickly. So, okay. Well, anyways, guys, I want to thank you guys all for joining me today. As soon as I can find the event going on, because Burning Man's been going on, it started Sundays. Burning Man started yesterday, and if you don't know what Burning Man is, just look it up. But they're doing it digitally this year, and I attended Burning Man last year digitally because I can't go all the way out west, all the way out to the desert. But I'll probably be doing some burning as soon as I can figure out where the event is. A lot of it's done in VR. So as soon as I can figure out where a Burning Man event is this evening, I'll probably be streaming some Burning Man. So if you guys see me streaming that and you don't know what it is, it's like a week-long festival about radical self-reliance. It's a really interesting mindset. It's again one of the cool ways that the left and right actually like kind of meet in the middle with things, because it's a very interesting place. It's what gives me hope that there's that a lot of people can get together. So thank you so much for the ice cream. So if I find some cool event going on tonight, or if it seems like it's worth wandering around VR and talking to people and seeing what's going on, and if anybody wants to join me, you actually can attend this without having a VR. You just need to download Alt Space VR, and I'm X Dr. Firefly, of course. And if you want to wander aimlessly around with me and listen to what conversations are and seeing what people are doing, that's something I'll probably be, like I said, look for me tonight if I find something interesting that's going to be doing. Other than that, I'm going to try, I said this before, but with September coming up, I've made the commitment to myself that I'm going to try to start streaming more starting in September. I'm starting to put together some classes, so we're going to be doing some classes. I'm going to also be showing you some of the little prep stuff I'm doing to prepare for fall and for winter, because this is kind of, right now, August, September are my biggest prep periods. This is when I really start getting all the stuff in line. This is when I start planning for what we're going to do in the spring. Mostly because fall can be crazy depending on the rain and the storms, and if we get an ice storm or enough like that. And so I don't really like I like to have my mind free to focus on whatever chaos is going to happen throughout the fall. And then winter, I like winter because winter's kind of a slower time. Except for this year, we got some projects with some in-house green, with some in-house growing, and seeing what kind of cool stuff we'll be able to grow in our room. Those that seen my house know that the inside is kind of like a jungle. So we're gonna try to start adding some more different types of foodstuffs to that, and really trying to see what kind of cool stuff we'll be able to add to that mix. So you guys will be on that particular part of the journey as well. Again, if you don't follow me on Discord and you want to talk about farming, crypto, off-grid living, that kind of stuff, hit me up on there. Oh, by the way, guys, since we're talking about, I mentioned crypto there. KuCoin, so Kucon, yeah, coin, KuCoin.com. It's an exchange. They have free trading bots on there, and it's pretty cool. I just recently unlocked my KuCoin, so very excited about trying out these trading bots. I have one running. I'm going to run it for about 24 hours, see what happens. I don't know, just something interesting. Might be another way for some people out there to make some passive income. Again, with the passive income, it's a great way to get yourself out there, and so you can get out of the city and into and get yourself a little plot of land and start taking control of your life again. Because regardless of what all the silliness that's been happening, the lesson that we should all be learning from this is trying to build community and to learn the skills that you have to give to that community, so we can start having community reliance and community sufficiency. So you're going to hear some people say self-sufficient. You need to be self-sufficient so that you can function properly in our community, because no man's an island. But building a strong knit clan, a strong knit community, a good tribe, a good family, a good group of friends. That's really the ultimate goal, and that's what the elite don't want us to do. It's when they keep us away. They want us not to be skilled, and they don't want us to talk to each other. So, well, anyways, friends, Doc or Justin, whatever you guys like to call me. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the day. So thank you for joining me as we fed the chickens, as we walked around and did all that kind of cool stuff. Again, guys, or anything else that I can help you guys with, definitely feel free to hit me up. So there's plenty of ways to get a hold of me. However you want to get a hold of me is awesome. Anyways, till tomorrow or tonight, whatever. Adios.